Hi, welcome everyone to tonight's live stream. I'm Kathy Schumann and I'm standing outside the Rosen House at Caramoor. Tonight's concert involves a very special group of musicians, all of whom are alumni of our Evnin Rising Stars mentoring program. This program was started in 1992 by Andre Previn and has been under the artistic direction of Pamela Frank since 2008. The artists on tonight's program all have different length relationships with Caramoor, but they're all part of our musical family, and we love having them back to see where their careers have taken them over the years. You'll get a chance to meet each of these artists throughout tonight's broadcast and in the Q&A segment following the performance. Thank you for joining us and for allowing Caramoor to continue to provide you with music this summer.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Cords and I play the viola.
My name is Zoë Martin-Doike and I play viola.
Hello, I'm Paul Huang and I'm a violinist.
Well, a highlight from my Rising Stars experience here at Caramoor, it's actually hard to pick just one, so I'll pick two, is hanging out in the fountain in the Spanish courtyard with the former music director Peter Ungen and former executive director Howard Herring. But another great memory that I have is being in the Evnin's living room and reading chamber music one night after dinner. We read through the entire Schubert G major quartet, I remember, with Peter Ungen playing violin, Sufan Kim, and Colin Carr.
I have so many fond memories from being a part of this program. A real gift has been collaborating with some of my musical heroes. And I have some very vivid memories of rehearsing Haydn quartets with Pam Frank, who is not only a musical hero, but also a mentor for me for many years. I studied with her at the Curtis Institute of Music. And we did a lot of experimenting in the process of rehearsals of our Haydn quartet. And I remember with Alex Hersh, we actually made some very daring musical decisions, and I think we added some whistling to the trio section of the minuet movement from the quartet, and that I mean, I think all of us were just smiling ear to ear during the whole performance, and it kind of gives you a sense of just the level of fun we were having and the spontaneity even in the concert. So it was a total blast.
There have been actually a lot of wonderful memories. Obviously the first thing that struck me, or most memorable one, is always the Halloween parties that we do every year at the Evnin Rising Stars program. But I would say musically, I think there was one moment that I still, to these days, that I still carry with me was a particular group that was the Dvorak String Sextet. And we were paired with our mentor, Peter Wiley. And at our very first rehearsal, as we played the opening for about 10 bars in, and then Mr. Wiley says, "Stop, guys, stop. Hey, kids, just, And Mr. Wiley was playing the second cello part, which kind of provides this wonderful foundations to the piece. And he says, "Just listen to me play for 10 bars. And so he proceeded to play the most beautiful sound I've ever heard of a non-melodic line. And after 10 bars later, he says, "Okay, let's play again." And afterwards, it was a complete different stories and different experience altogether. And then I think that was really a magical moment for all six of us concerned. And it's pure magic.
So since I was in Rising Stars, it's been a while for me, and a lot has happened. I started playing in Yo-Yo Ma's Silk Road ensemble, and that's been 20 years, almost to the day. And more recently, I became a co-artistic director of Silk Road, which has been an exciting journey. I teach at New England Conservatory of Music, which is something that I love doing very much. I teach viola and chamber music there, and I play in a string quartet, which is played at Caramoor a couple of times, and we, at least in better times, we tour the world and do a lot of really fun projects. The quartet is called Brooklyn Rider.
Well, I am a member of the Metropolitan Opera Orchestra. I play in the viola section, and I adore my job. I love hearing some of the great voices of our time up on stage. I love working with some of the artists, the conductors that come through, and I love being a part of something so much larger than myself, between the orchestra and what's happening on stage. But I would hope one of my favorite things to do outside of opera is to play chamber music. And I hope that I can maintain, I guess, chamber music is a big part of my career moving forward.
Life as a musician, after the Evnin Rising Stars, hasn't really changed much because us as musicians, I think every day is a different day, and there isn't really a sort of a schedule where you can follow. So I would say when I was Evnin Rising Star fellow here, I was kind of just out of the school, so I didn't really play a lot of concerts at the time. And now I think the difference is I have to juggle much more concert dates and have to sort of find a way to be very diligent about my time, and then to be able to cramp different repertoires at any given time, and sometimes a big quantity of repertoires that I have to sort through in a very short time of period, and that's always going to be an evolving quest and evolving experience for me, and I will have to continue to live with that. And other than that, I think nothing has much changed. But musically, I hope that I'm as passionate as ever, and I know that I'm even more passionate about music, as year goes on, and hopefully make music in the most honest way possible. And communicating with my audience is always my priorities, and I enjoy doing that, and I'm grateful that I still have the passion for it.
I'm looking forward to a lot of things, I guess, post-pandemic. I look forward, first of all, to returning to work. I miss opera, I miss my colleagues a lot, and while I've been extremely fortunate in this time to be able to continue making music, I was actually quarantined with my boyfriend and his roommates, who I guess between the four of us we make up a quartet. So we actually played a lot of music, and that was such a gift in a time of otherwise isolation from the musical activities that I'm used to.
It's a very tricky time where musicians are now put on hold. Well, probably the whole world is put on hold, and but it gave us a time to sort of reflect as the musicians, because normally that we are running at different cities every other day, and this is actually a luxury time for us to be able to think, if that makes any sense. But there are a few things that I'm actually looking forward to in the following seasons, 2021 seasons, where I'm actually going to be the artist in residence with the National Symphony Orchestra in Taiwan. And Taiwan as a country has been doing very, very well with the COVID-19. Actually, the whole island has been COVID-free for the last 5 months. So life is back into complete normalcies, and concert halls have been opened, and ticket selling has been really, really wonderful. So probably my good chances of playing live performances with live audience without mask would be in Taiwan. And I feel lucky. I sort of kind of lucked out that the schedule worked out that I'm going to be their artist in residence for next season. So this will give me, a lot of things to work on and a lot of things to look forward to, despite the rest of the world might still have to put on hold in terms of live performances.
Hi, and welcome back. We are here after that absolutely incredible concert. I'm Kathy Schumann once again, and I'm here with just three of the players from tonight, Eddie Arron, Alex Hersh, and Tessa Lark. As last week we decided we would not squish everyone on stage, so you heard a little bit from the other three earlier in the broadcast, and now we will talk to these three. First, I just want to say, I can't believe you put that program together in 3 days of rehearsal. That is a monster program.
It is a monster indeed.
Yeah.
It is. But it was a pleasure to do it. So,
yeah, I know it's been great. And most of you, I think, have played during this lockdown time a little bit, but I'm sure it's been a fraction of what you're used to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we've mentioned earlier, all the participants in tonight's program are alumni of our Evnin Rising Stars mentoring program. And just to give you a little tidbit of what that is, it's one very intense week in the fall every year of a program that's been going on since 1992. And Eddie Arron was actually in the second year of that program ever in 1993. So he represents the I won't say oldest, but you are the oldest. And Zoe is actually the most recent participant, having been here just last fall. And Alex not far behind with the fall of 2018. And everybody comes for 2 years, usually. So this is only 2 weeks out of your life, and yet, and we know you all do a lot of other wonderful programs and have done throughout your life, but this is special. We think it's special. So Eddie, I just want to start with you and say, you know, what has your relationship with Caramoor meant to you, and how has it evolved over the years? Because you've had a long role with us.
Yes, you know, just walking into this gorgeous room brought it all back. It feels like yesterday that I walked in here for the first time 27 years ago to play chamber music for a week with, at that time, Andre Previn was the artistic director here, and I got to play with Annie Kavafian, Krista Benyon-Feeney, and I met colleagues, my peers, who became my dearest lifelong friends, the people I spend my life making music with. And it was during that week, I was 16 years old, when I really decided this is what I want to do. I want to do this every week, 52 weeks of the year, and I was heartbroken when I left. And I said that to Howard Herring, the executive director of Caramoor at the time. And he said, "Don't worry, we'll have you back before you know it." And sure enough, we dreamt up things, and all of a sudden, a quarter of a century went by. And I've played here so many memorable times, and I really feel like it is a musical home. So
well,
very special to be back, and particularly emotional to be back here under these circumstances. Playing real music with real humans is something I've learned not to take for granted in the past few months.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Alex, coming on the other end of the spectrum with a little less time under your belt, but still, you know, it's only been a year and some since you were here, but yeah, in the more recent past, how has that week, 2 weeks, affected how you've thought about chamber music?
It's kind of shaped everything. Pamela Frank is the director of the program now, and she's one of my ultimate heroes. And I think there's so many things. It's such a long and meaningful week. It's not just, a week sounds so insubstantial compared to how special it is. One story I remember, if I may, is that my first fall here, when I was playing a Haydn quartet with Pam, and I remember I showed up like with my little phrasing game plan that I did, like I was gonna, came prepared. And there was a repeat in the section, so I did my game plan once again. And instead of doing the normal thing of stopping and talking, Pam did the most brilliant thing ever, which was she just said, "Chicken." And I was so caught off guard, but it was so exactly right. And I think she kind of instills in everyone, just don't be a chicken and take chances here and go for things. And it's just like the greatest laboratory on the planet in that sense. I told that story my second year at the wonderful dinner at Judy Evnin's house, and Pam subsequently mailed me a little chicken as a keychain.
Classic Pam.
And it's the greatest gift I may have ever received. So this place is so special to me. It really feels like home as well.
And Tessa, sorry, you're not going to get off from answering something, some memory or highlight or something you've taken away from your weeks here at.
Yeah, I mean, you both have covered so much of what is magical about Caramoor, and Alex, what you were saying at the end, there are all these really amazing intimate moments that happen when you have such a special week with colleagues. And for me, I think I had just turned 18, at the time, so I was younger, and it was one of my first experiences like that. And I was pretty new to chamber music, so it was played my very first Schubert quintet here, one of my very first Beethoven quartets, first Schubert string quartet. And so there's just so much going on, and you're so intensely enveloped in this musical laboratory, as you're saying. And so afterwards, it is equally as raucous, the other side of the spectrum. And when I was here, I think the weeks were happening during Halloween week, and so there were those, the legendary dinners at Judy Evnin's home.
With costumes.
With costumes, always with costumes.
Yes.
Not a Caramoor dinner without costumes. Yes. And that feeling of family that has just been here forever. And I remember I was quite nervous. I mean, I didn't know chamber music so well, but I felt right at home. And as you said, Ed, when they say we'll have you back, I mean, you most certainly do.
Yeah.
And it does. It feels. Yeah, I mean, this setting doesn't remind me of my living room. I wish it did, but it feels like that. It really does.
So, all right, let's talk a little bit about tonight's program. Alex, thank you for sharing some of your history with Shulamit Ran and that piece. But this is only the second time you've played that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this was Alex's request, I just want to say, to put that piece on the program. Good choice. We can see why also. But it was really beautiful. The Tchaikovsky was stunning, as was the Mozart. It was just a fantastic program. So we have some technical questions here from the chat. Did you enjoy having the violas in the center of the sextet during the Tchaikovsky? And let's just note there are no violists on stage right now, so you can say whatever you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that we got rid of them.
Yeah.
It was a request of mine in the beginning of the rehearsal process, and nobody argued, which was surprising. Yeah. Usually you get 6 musicians together, and everybody said, let's go ahead and give this a try. And the scoring of the piece is such that things do get passed around at a number of different places throughout the 4 movements of the piece. So you have this kind of visual feeling of a motive being passed around the horn there. I also love for this particular piece to get those middle voices right next to each other, and especially in that second movement where the second violin and the 2 violas are under a tree strumming their guitars as the first violin and the first cello play this Italian street song of sorts. And just to have those voices together there is really neat, I think. So I loved it. Did you guys feel okay sitting that way?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really, I haven't actually gotten to play the piece, really, so this is my, one way of seeing it, and
this was your first time?
Yeah, I'm totally sold, and yeah, just like you said, it just felt like having a band there, and sort of, you look this way for the first violin, and then this way, and something is so organic about it. It felt good. And I don't know, with the microphones here too, there's you don't have as much of the issue of projecting and balance as you would in a live concert. So I guess you can think more in that way and not have to worry so much about projecting.
Sounded great to us. Somebody asked, did you virtually rehearse before tonight's performance? I think you did not virtually rehearse. They actually rehearsed.
We got together for 2 days, yesterday and the day before yesterday, and we did our rehearsals. And what I always marvel at with such great colleagues is everybody shows up prepared and knowing what they're supposed to be doing and able to just sit at the table and begin the conversation. And so even reading through these pieces, it came across at such a high level. The feeling of camaraderie was high, and then it was a pleasure to put together and render here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and had you played I'm sure nobody had played the Shulamit Ran before besides you, Alex?
Right. I was actually at Marlborough when Alex played this piece, so I got to see his inaugural performance of it, and I got to play another piece by Shulamit Ron. She was composer in residence there, so was familiar with her music, and I know it's becoming deservedly popular. But yeah, I think it was
I attended the premiere of the piece, but it was a while. That was about 12 years ago, right? At Merkin Hall in New York, and it was a group that I used to play with called Concertantes. So my friends were out there playing this piece. I remember feeling the impact of her writing. And she's an extraordinary composer, and the piece was just so powerful. But great to be inside of this music.
Yeah, but just again to reiterate, you know, a fixed ensemble plays together all the time and has much more rehearsal for repertoire that they keep. And you guys just all come together for this. A lot of you have never played with each other, never met each other even. Some of you know each other, but not all. And that's a crazy thing.
It brings to mind another thing that I find so magical about Caramoor, and something that I found magical the moment I set foot in this place is music here is completely ageless, and that was made clear to me by Andre Previn when I sat down. I said, "Hello, Mr. Previn," and he said, "Who?" Call me Andre, and we joked around and we made music and shared ideas, and that flow of ideas, it went both ways. It was always so democratic and so loving, and that's just been the case throughout the years. So old friends, new friends, sort of old friends, all coming together here is a special thing. There's a tradition that just kind of keeps bubbling in a really special way here.
Somebody would like to know, what are you excited about for the future of chamber music? That is a big question.
Holy smokes, that's loaded. I
Alex?
feel like, yeah.
Take that one, Alex.
Yeah.
With the whole pandemic, not necessarily with chamber music, but I think with a lot of classical music in particular, I think it's going to force us all to kind of consider how we create content, how we release content, and how we reach an audience and stuff like that. I think those questions are important and interesting for the future of classical music, and I think that this applies to chamber music too. And it's something I've been thinking about a lot personally, and that I think is one of the interesting things to come of this. I'm always trying to look for what positives can we take from this situation that we are in. But I am hopeful that the future brings this sort of people come forth with new ideas, new ways of making content. I mean, look how we've adapted to presenting this very concert, and it's accessible to anyone across the world. That's so cool to me that we've adapted in that way, and I'm just a little bit excited about what this will mean for the future. I'm not sure things, when they go back to normal, will just stop. I think this might inform what the new normal is. So that's sort of the optimist in me looking at it.
Yeah. Tessa, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
Anything?
No, I mean, what he said. I feel like chamber music in a way is at an advantage because it is a small and intimate music, and in a way we can get back to the way it was when it all started, and how I always feel when I come back to Caramoor, really playing in a chamber-like room. So I think there's that as well. But yeah, like you're saying, Alex, having these live streams actually makes this music available to more people, because usually you have to be local and see the thing live, and I think that's a really exciting thing for different series around the country and around the world to be visible to a lot of people. And if ever traveling becomes a thing again, people might be inclined to check out concerts and chamber music that they may not have seen before.
Yeah, I mean, that's great for us, the viewers, for you on stage, I mean, it's a very different thing playing a recorded concert to an empty hall, almost empty. There were a few of us here tonight, but how is that different? How does that feel?
It is just a different feeling, and you know, we're accustomed to rehearsing just us in a room, but when you all of a sudden feel that, or are aware that your performance is being transmitted to lots of people, and cameras are on you, you feel that sort of performance anxiety, but then yes, it's an empty room. My cello case is sitting in the third row where you know, the audience would be, and my suitcase is over there, and so it's strange. It's just a strange feeling. What's great about chamber music is we're able to inspire one another in the moment. So there was a lot of adrenaline in that sense.
Yeah, we've definitely heard that from all the musicians who've played for us this summer, that just to be able to play together with colleagues has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure
so we
has.
thank you for bringing your music to us. We're going to keep doing these live streams for as long as we need to, and maybe beyond. I want to give a special shout out to Judy Evnin, the godmother of the Evnin Rising Stars, and to Tony and Judy Evnin for their support of tonight's program specifically, and thank you so much for their incredible, incredible support. Big shout out also to Emily Buffum and Warren Hammer, our technical team, who make this all come to you. And with that, I think I'll just say good night and see you soon.